Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see, we have the Corvette behind us and it is kind of on the lift, but today what we're working on is actually on the motor side. Well, actually specifically the supercharger side. And what we're going to be doing is test fitting a new pulley. So the part number for this pulley is 15854, and as you guys can see, it is a 10 rib 2.75 inch pulley. And so what we have here is that 10 rib pulley like we were talking about. And the 2.75 is actually currently the size that we already have on the car. So that's not going to change. And basically what we're doing is test fitting to see if the 10 rib will fit on the Eforce supercharger. I'm just not sure if it will. And the second thing is, I just want to see how good the belt lineup's going to be, because if you guys can look below, I'm not sure what you can see, but the 10 rib supercharger belt pulley is also the same width as the ATI pulleys, the idler pulleys that we have here on the upper idler and the lower idler that's on the water pump. And if you guys remember correctly, you will remember that we installed that lower ATI idler pulley a few months ago. It's just a 3-inch diameter by 10 rib thickness pulley from ATI. I'll have a link to that video up above. And actually that pulley failure, because that pulley locked up, is kind of what started this whole latest round of upgrades that we've done. You know, remember we had to drop the radiator, replace that pulley, and all the other stuff that we've done with this round of mods. But since we know that the 10 rib will fit on the idler pulley, you know, there's no reason why we couldn't, you know, go with a 10 rib crank pulley, a 10 rib water pump pulley, basically all the other pulleys that are on the front accessory drive. But you know, before we start buying a kit from ATI, a conversion kit, you know, I wanted to make sure the cheapest part of this would fit first, and that is the 10 rib on the supercharger. I actually had a few people talking about this project, you know, hey, will a 10 rib from Edelbrock fit their actual supercharger? But the funny thing is, when this system first came out, like, man, it might have been 6 or 7 years ago, maybe even 8 years ago, I'm not sure when this first came out. It was only designed for a 6 rib. Then they've gotten into the 10, 11 rib and all these pulleys. And this is an Edelbrock part number, like I said. So we're kind of at a crossroads. It's like, will the 10 rib fit? I don't know. That's kind of why we're going to take the car apart and find out. All right, guys, you can see we've got the throttle body off, and just double checking in here. I don't see any oil, and we've put a decent amount of miles in the car since we had it dynoed. We've got that new catch can, so that's good. There's no you know, oil coming back into the car. But now that we've got the throttle body and all that off, now it's actually time to take the supercharger pulley itself off. And kind of like I was saying earlier, you know, I'm actually going to leave the belt on it, that way it's under tension and this has less tendency to want to spin while we're trying to get this hardware loose. Now there is red Loctite on here. I believe it was 8 foot-pounds, so this stuff doesn't torque down very much, but you know, there is some red Loctite, and you need to be careful about trying to get these bolts broken loose. Alright, so there's the 4 bolts for the supercharger pulley. Now I haven't taken it off yet, but you guys will notice the belt is also gone. So basically, this should pop off. Alright, I may need to go get a rubber mallet and hit on it a little bit. I'm not saying like anything hard, just tapping it a little bit, because there's probably Loctite still on here. I'm getting it, but anyway, let me go get a mallet. We'll get this pulley off. All right, guys, I finally got the pulley off. I had to kind of hit on it in every direction. I hit it on from the front, I hit it on from the top, I hit it on the lip. Again, like I said, only using a rubber mallet and not putting any damage to it. I don't want to hit the blower or anything like that. So we finally got it loose. But if you guys can see, I obviously used way too much red Loctite, and some of it stuck on the inside of the bearing, if that's what you want to call that, the inner mounting flange. So I think it literally glued itself to the supercharger. So I finally had to knock that loose, and we were able to get that off. So if you put the supercharger pulleys mounting flange to mounting flange, what I mean by that is the numbers are on the inside, and that inside goes toward the supercharger. So it's going to go on like that, you know, like I said, numbers toward the blower. If you look, the two pulleys look to be about the same. So I think the 6 ribs will be fine. And what I mean by that is, I think the 6-rib pulleys will have the same like flange like this, if that makes sense. But the 10-rib will actually just put those 4 extra ribs to the front of the supercharger pulley. And what I mean by that is if you look at the tensioner right here, you'll have the 6 ribs, the same factory ones that we have now, all to the back. The extra 4 will be in front of that. So that kind of makes sense. So now that we look at it from the front, it looks to be the surface of this pulley matches the surface of that pulley. So I think this is gonna work. So when we go to bolt this in, that same 6 ribs will go over the supercharger snout like that, and we should be fine. So, all right, numbers in. Let's go ahead and try to mount it. All right. Are we all the way on? Yeah, cool. All right, guys. So from a supercharger mounting perspective, we will not have an issue bolting this to the car. Like, this pulley goes all the way on. Like I said, I kind of thought that this was going to be the same. It's not hitting anything. There's nothing on the supercharger snout itself. There's no, when Edelbrock casts this blower, there's plenty of space around here. So that'll go on like that. You can spin it. It'll be fine. The one thing we might run into, you're gonna laugh, might actually be the throttle body. So, okay, will the throttle body hit the pulley? Oh wow, no. So when you look here with the throttle body kind of pressed up against it, we probably have an 1/8 of an inch clearance. Wow, that's kind of crazy, guys. But it should fit. So now that we got the basic dimensions, A, the throttle body will clear, B, the pulley will physically fit onto the supercharger, not hit anything without requiring modification. Let's go ahead and tighten everything down just kind of loosely, and we'll see if everything lines up. What I'm especially want to worry about is trying to get that belt onto this 10-rib pulley. Alright, so this is going to look a little bit ridiculous, but as you guys can see, we have the belt fully installed back on the car. We put the tensioner back on, and the belt's fully looped around. And what was kind of weird, the belt actually slipped over this easier than the last time I remember putting it on. Maybe the green belt, the HD belt, has slipped a little bit, has stretched a little bit, I meant. But anyway, yeah, this thing fit on without issue, and as you guys can see, there's an additional 4 rows here, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be where your 10-rib belt's gonna fit. And also, if you guys decide to go with an 8-rib system, because ATI sells 2 kits. They sell an 8-rib conversion and a 10-rib conversion, and I think they're both about the same price. They're around the $1,000 mark, like $995 to like $1,100, so something like that. So if you guys are ever interested with an Eforce, you could go with a 10-rib or an 8-rib, and it should fit without issue. All right, we have the throttle body installed. Obviously, like I said, we're just mocking this up. We got a couple bolts in it, they're tight. We have all the electronics plugged back in for the throttle body. The only thing we don't have plugged in is obviously the air intake, the filter with the MAP sensor. For this purposes, we don't need that. I just wanted to show you, it is close. So, like I said, we are only, I don't know, 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch away from the blower to the throttle body. So we are super close, but with the LS3 style throttle body, it will fit. If you guys had a Camaro or CTSV style throttle body, or even the newer Nick Williams throttle body, I know Nick Williams isn't doing this model anymore. It has that bigger one side of it. As long as that side goes to the driver's side, you should not have any issue with that hitting this pulley. Now, if you had to flip it this way, this might be a problem. You might need a spacer, just letting you guys know. So right now with the LS3 style, Corvette style throttle body, fits just fine. So that's pretty much gonna be it for today. So the guys that wanted to see if the 10-rib pulley will fit the Eforce, the answer is obviously yes, it will. What accessory drive, whether you use Innovative West, Innovators West, or ATI, that's kind of up to you and what brand you want to go with. But the supercharger itself, throttle body, that stuff will all fit with no issue. Now there is kind of a third version of the setup that you guys can do. I'm not sure how 100% successful it is. I just know I've got a friend out there that's going to be running a 10-rib on his LS9 style blower with the A&A belt drive. And A&A, what they do, they basically have a 3-rib crank pulley. So you got your AC belt, you got your accessory drive belt, and then you've got your blower belt. And I believe the blower belt is spaced out to where it's going to be the same 10-rib, same stock location as the 6-rib. The accessory drive belt only drives the power steering and the alternator on the passenger side, and I believe the AC belts will drive the air conditioner on the bottom, and that's really about it. So basically with that setup, you would have a separate accessory drive strictly for the blower. So that conversion kit is like $2,000. I'm not sure what pulleys it comes with. I would have to look more into that, but trying to find a 10-rib 101.5 inch belt, they're out there, but the belt itself in the high, heavy duty green belt, guys, I think it was almost a $180 belt. And blowing up a $50 belt, that's not that bad, but if you blow a almost $200 belt every time you blow a belt, you gotta drop another $200 for a new belt. That'll be a problem. So like I said, there's a couple different ways you could do this. Just do the LS3 accessory drive with the 10-rib setup on it from ATI or Innovative West. The A&A kit, which uses an Innovative West crank pulley. So that's kind of your third option. But the problem with the A&A kit is I'm just not sure what pulleys it comes with, so you'd probably still have to go out and buy a certain set of 10-rib pulleys. So just a fair warning. So I know that's a lot of information for you guys, but that's kind of why we do these videos, and hopefully it helps you out. So if you guys want to see more helpful tech videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on your bell notifications. If you guys want to help support the channel, I should have links to the pulley down below. I actually think I did buy that on Amazon, so I should have a link for you there. And check out our website, BonecrrusherSS.com. Thanks guys. Have a great one.